The Senate Impeachment Court grants the prosecution's request to subpoena the bank and tax records of Vice President Sara Duterte, including AMLAC records. House Prosecutor Diokno leads the prosecution in a major win to summon Vice President Sara Duterte's financial records. A Chinese Coast Guard hits a Filipino soldier on the head during a clash in Ayungin Shoal. 2 Filipino seafarers aboard commercial vessels were killed by drone strikes in the Black Sea near Ukraine. And pump prices will rise again starting Tuesday, July 21. The Senate Impeachment Court grants the prosecution's request for the subpoena of bank and tax records of Vice President Sara Duterte and her husband, Mans Carpio. The request for subpoena of records from the Anti-Money Laundering Council are also granted. The court also overrules the defense's argument that the husband's privacy should be respected. Presiding Officer Chis Escudero says the marriage is governed by, quote, the absolute community of property regime.
The request for subpoenas directed to the concerned banking institutions covering the accounts of respondent, Attorney Manasseh Carpio, separately or jointly, the partnership of Carpio lawyers, and the 19 listed corporate entities is granted.
House prosecutors intend to use the financial records as evidence to prove Duterte's alleged unexplained wealth. The court also allows a subpoena for records from 2007 to 2021, rejecting the defense's argument that these cover years outside her public service and are irrelevant to the impeachment case. Escudero clarifies the bank records may only be used to establish a baseline and not to introduce new impeachable offenses. Defense spokesperson Michael Poa had argued the request for subpoenas is illegal, saying the prosecution was on a fishing expedition.
Yun po ang ibig sabihin ng fishing expedition. When the party requesting information does not know what might be produced, dito po malaki ang pagkaiba ng sitwasyon. Maalala po ninyo, during the hearings before the Committee on Justice, the Executive Director of the Anti-Money Laundering Council testified and produced documents showing that from 2007 up to the present, 6.7 billion pesos ang dumaan po sa account ni Vice President Sara Duterte.
While almost all of the prosecution's requests for subpoena were approved, Escudero denies the opening of foreign currency deposits without the written consent of the depositors. Meantime, law professor Maria Lulu Reyes says in a Rappler panel discussion, the court's ruling is
legally correct, morally and ethically upright, and of course, politically timely.
House Prosecutor Diokno was in the driver's seat as the prosecution won approval for its request to subpoena Vice President Sara Duterte's financial records.
We give credit to Kong Diokno for the clarity and the sterling soundness of his arguments. Napakalinaw niya po na mag-argue, point ng mga nasa batas, na point ng mga nasa facts.
The prosecution is in high spirits following the court order which the defense team had fought tooth and nail to prevent.
This is a major victory for the search for truth, for transparency and accountability.
Mamamayang Liberal Representative Laila de Lima adds the court's decision proves the prosecution did not conduct a fishing expedition. During Monday's trial, Senator Judges Alan Peter Cayetano and Pia Cayetano quizzed Diokno and defense lawyer Michael Poa on their positions. Pia Cayetano asks if evidence obtained from the House Justice Committee proceedings are valid if they were obtained improperly. She cites the case Stonehill versus Diokno, a 1967 Supreme Court ruling that said general search warrants were ruled void. Diokno is the son of then Justice Secretary Jose Pepe Diokno, a respondent in that case. He explains that the search warrant is different from a subpoena.
Pag ang isang judge ay nag-issue ng search warrant, pwedeng pasukin yung opisina o yung bahay ng person involved, pwedeng halongkatin yung lahat ng mga gamit niya doon sa kanyang opisina o sa kanyang bahay. Ang pinag-uusapan natin ngayon ay subpoena. Hindi po ito license to enter an office or to search any place. Ito po ay mismong humihiling lang ng mga dokumentong nakasulat sa loob ng subpoena. Therefore, the contexts are very different.
A China Coast Guard personnel hits a Filipino soldier during a quick confrontation at Ayungin Shoal in the West Philippine Sea early Monday, July 20. This causes a 1.5-inch wound on the head of the soldier. The soldier, whose identity was not disclosed as of posting, received first aid after returning to the BRP Sierra Madre. CCG personnel used a long pole the military described as a wooden baton. The Armed Forces of the Philippines says the latest actions of the China Coast Guard showed a blatant disregard for safety, endangering Filipino personnel. This also further escalates tensions in the West Philippine Sea. It also calls on China's military and Coast Guard to stop what it described as illegal, coercive, aggressive, and deceptive actions in the area. The AFP also renewed its call for China to adhere to the 2016 arbitral award that affirms the Philippines' lawful maritime rights under international law. The Department of National Defense says the incident adds to a clear pattern of provocative and hostile behavior and further contributes to the People's Republic of China's deficit of trust and credibility. The Migrant Workers Department confirms 2 Filipino seafarers aboard commercial vessels were killed by drone strikes in the Black Sea near Ukraine. The first seafarer died in a July 6 attack, while the second died on Sunday, July 19. Migrant Workers Secretary Hans Leo Kakdak says 9 ships carrying a total of 139 Filipino seafarers have recently been attacked primarily through drone strikes while transiting in Ukraine and Russia. 1 other Filipino seafarer is missing, while 12 were injured. Kakdak pledges to assist the families and arrange for the repatriation of the seafarers' remains. Motorists face another increase in pump prices starting Tuesday, July 21. This as renewed fighting in the Middle East again pushes up global oil and refined fuel prices. Energy Secretary Sharon Garin announces the following fuel price adjustments for the week of July 21 to 27. Diesel will have an increase of 10 pesos and 68 centavos per liter, gasoline with an increase of 3 pesos and 65 centavos per liter, and kerosene with 11 pesos and 77 centavos per liter. Ahead of the official July 21 adjustment, DOE officials had warned of an extra-large increase, with fuel prices potentially rising by more than 10 pesos per liter. The latest hike comes as the DOE moves back to stricter fuel pricing rules. And that's today's wrap. I'm JC Gotinga. Thank you for watching. Click the link below for the full story. For more updates, download the wRap.